Hello everyone, Kyle here with TTOParts. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now, if you're watching this, it means you have purchased the e-course or masterclass or whatever we end up branding it as. And we really appreciate you guys. Now, if you do watch this video, you're gonna get a masterclass on everything Videojet Dataflex 6530, 6330. We're gonna cover the 55mm printers and the 110s. So that's gonna be a 53mm print head and a 107mm print heads. 2 and 4 inches. So this course, we're gonna talk broadly about TTO printers so you guys get a feel of what's actually going on when we get a printer. So you understand all the way down to the basics, heating the ribbon up and transferring it to the film, etc. And then we're gonna dive really deep into problem areas on these printers. So you guys are gonna become masters at this. There'll be no reason for you to even think about calling Videojet. You're gonna fix this all yourself. All right, now before we get started, I did wanna give you guys just a little bit of background and let you know who I am. So like I mentioned before, my name is Kyle. My background's in mechanical engineering. Before I started doing this stuff in the packaging industry, I had a few other personal business lives or whatever you wanna call it. I started out as an applications engineer at a company called Highwind. You may recognize them, they're in these printers. They make the linear bearings that the carriages slide on. They also make ball screws and stuff like that. So there I got some machining. I was exposed to machining and the process that goes into that, as well as sizing customers for the right application, et cetera, et cetera. Then I spent some time at another company as a design engineer where we got to make plastic injection molding, die cast, stamped parts, you name it. So I got a background in design and support. And then I've been doing this in the packaging industry for like 10 plus years. In this role, I've been integrating all types of printers. The most common one is the TTO printer, but we do the high res, we do the TIG, we do the CIJ. We're working on label applicators, you name it. So really focused on getting prints onto your material. Now, along with integrations comes service. So we do run our own service department at TTOParts, and that has helped our customers tremendously. The fact of the matter is sometimes you just don't have the time to do what we're gonna learn about today. Sometimes you do, but I know you guys, if you guys are the maintenance guys taking care of the pack lines and everything else that goes wrong at your facilities, sometimes these things get pushed to the side. That's where our service steps in. We do it on site or we do it here in Florida. We ask you just to ship your printers to us, etc. You might have seen some videos online of us fixing other customers' printers. Why did I start TTOParts? So full disclosure, I am the owner of TTOParts and I started it. I saw a niche in our packaging industry. What I mean by that is like there was nobody really selling these parts online and teaching how to use these parts. Instead of you guys every month getting hit with a service contract, my idea was like, well, let's just bring the knowledge to them. That's why we're doing this course here and have the parts available. I don't care if you don't buy from me. I mean, it'd be nice, but you guys got to do your own thing. Now, the big guys like Videojet or Markham or all those big names, they like to lock you down with those before mentioned service agreements, right? They'll hit you with a service agreement for a brand new printer that you just installed. Nothing can be wrong with that printer for another year, but you're still paying every single month to protect it. I guess you can look at it as an insurance policy, but why? Why waste that money? Not when you can learn what goes wrong with these printers and you could fix them yourself. Start with the basics. TTO printing. What does that stand for? TTO, thermal transfer overprinting. This type of printer applies ink to a substrate with the printing element known as the print head. Let's get that clunky lingo out of the way. This is a printer or a machine that sits on top of your packaging and stamps a nice print on it. Simple enough. Now, why choose this printer? Why not choose any other types of printers, right? There's benefits and cons to all of them. The easy explanation of why you're gonna choose a printer in the first place is you have some information, what I like to call variable information. So it's gonna change by the day. It's gonna vary by the day. If you have a Best Buy date or a timestamp that you need on your packaging or a lot number, etc., you would need a printer that can also change by the day. Now, the older style printers, we'll briefly touch on this, they used to have type that you would have to insert manually. So you take a set screw, take the 01 out to add the 02 in, tighten it back up, and then get back to running. It sounds actually you can do it really fast, but it doesn't. Sometimes it takes time to do these things. It's time that you don't want to waste on this process. So you use a nice TTO printer. A TTO printer will allow you to print what you need during production at a very high resolution with minimal amount of with a minimal amount of waste. This is a 53mm right-hand TTO printer. The size of the printer is determined by the print head common sizes from the manufacturer. So for this one, Videojet, we've got the 32, the 53, and the 107. The larger the size of the print head, the larger print you can produce. The hand designation of a printer is important to the application. The function is identical between left hand and right hand, but the application will dictate which hand you choose. Let's break that down a little bit more because the left hand versus right hand is very basic, but it's something that's important when it comes to setups as well as parts, because some of the parts are dependent on which type of printer you have. So if you don't know you have a left hand, you may not know to buy the correct print head PCB. And that could be a problem and a costly problem. And let's avoid that. So what is it that makes it left or right? The direction of travel on the print head. I do like to discuss one other setting when I discuss left hand versus right hand, and that's the intermittent versus continuous print applications. So put the hand to the side. Let's talk about applications. Intermittent versus continuous. And what does that mean? I'm sure most of you guys were either around for the original install of these machines, or you already understand this, or they were set up before you came and now you're just here working on them. Okay, so bear with me. It's important to know about this stuff, not only for the setup application, but also when we're working on stuff. It helps us identify where to look on these flow charts that we give you at the end of this video. So let's talk about the application of continuous or intermittent printing mode. There's two distinct types of printing that's available with the TTO printer. This is a print head. It's the older style print head, but it's going to be useful in our demonstration on continuous versus intermittent. So continuous printing. Now, the substrate or your packaging will never stop moving. Simple enough. In most cases, I've seen a few cases where there's a fill operation where you could do an intermittent print, but it's still set up as continuous. Your substrate never stops moving. Your print head works when told to print. The print head will come down, engage the elements, ribbon will be pulled across it as the film still keeps moving. The challenge with continuous printing is the synchronization between your film and where the print head needs to print. And to do this, we use an external encoder. The external encoder will mount onto your bracket or and always be engaged with the continuous platen roller. This feedback loop from the encoder to the printer will let the printer know how fast your line's moving, so it knows how quick to pull the ribbon through to make the perfect image, right? If you have a 2x1 image, it's going to want to give you a 2x1 image, and the only way it can do that is to calculate the speed that needs to be done. I touched on this, but intermittent printing, what's going to happen? Your packaging or your film is not going to be continuous moving. There's going to be a stop, whether that's a cutting process, a forming process, a stamping process, whatever it is down the line that allows the film to stop moving, we take advantage of it. And what we do is we set up an intermittent printer. So film moves, gets into position, stops. Then I'm going to tell it, hey, time to print. This print head's going to go down, hit your film, the ribbon's going to be touching it, and drag across your film and come back to the home position. That's how it's going to transfer that image from the print head, the ribbon, onto your substrate. Your film will move once this print process, down and back, has been completed. Because there is stopping, we don't need that the synchronized motion feedback loop that you would for the continuous printer. So you don't need that encoder. Now there's two ways to determine this. One, physically, and two, through the settings. This is a solid model of our bracket. Now you'll notice in the center is a rubber pad. This is called the anvil or the platen pad. This signals intermittent printing. This is the same bracket model, but we've removed the platen pad and replaced it with a platen roller. This is a rubber roller that the film will move over. This identifies continuous printing along with an encoder. We're going to have to use the touchscreen, so you're going to want to power your unit on and then follow these steps. From the touchscreen, select Settings, Diagnostics, Print Head, General. In the General folder, you will find printer mode, the printer hand, and other useful settings. We just went over intermittent versus continuous. Now let's dig into left hand and right hand. Left hand versus right hand, and what difference does it really make? In intermittent printing, it technically doesn't make a difference because the film stops, you get a print signal, the print head comes down, drags over the film, finishes the print, and goes back to the home position or the beginning position. Which direction you're going to drag is the only thing that will change. And you have the ability to flip the message 180 degrees from the touch screen. Now, continuous applications, it's a little bit different. The film will be rolling on top of a roller. The direction of the film will tell us which direction hand we want to have, because the hand will come down at an angle and the film will get pulled through. If it's the wrong way, it'll pull the print head. We don't want that. This is the old style 6420. I'm going to remove the cassette so we can determine what hand type we have. After removing the cassette, we need to identify the homing block. The homing block is a small piece of plastic that the printhead carriage block enters upon startup. This carriage moves to the right and the homing block is on the right. So this is a right-hand printer. This is the new 6530 style printer. As you can tell, there is no homing block. We have to imagine where that homing block would be based on where the printhead is and the printhead cable. We can see that the printhead is all the way on the left-hand side and can only move to the right. If it were to move to the right with the head down, we would be able to print. This is a right-hand printer. From the touchscreen, select Settings, Diagnostics, Printhead, General. In the General folder, you will find the printer mode, the printer hand, and other useful settings. Now let's talk about our screen. Now the screen is the interface into our machine. It gives us some status, some settings that we can change, a bunch of things. And I promise we're going to get into those later, but let's just talk about the basics. This is our touchscreen. This is our interaction. This is our LCD assembly. This black piece is our power supply unit. They do come apart. Okay, little USB connector there. This guy gets our power as well as our lead cable assembly. We will come back to this later, take this thing apart and show you what's on the inside. Next. Oh, I'm still here. All of the printers, whether it's the 32, 53, or 107, and almost virtually all other manufacturers use something called a cassette. Now, I've heard it called other things before, but what is a cassette? This is a tool for loading ribbon. Ribbon goes here and here onto a printer. Once the ribbon is loaded, we insert this into our printer and we go through a calibration process to get going. So this will hold our ribbon. Now, this is an important part. High level here, components, we have alignment posts, we have mandrels, we've got some buttons for release, we got some handles, and a locking screw. Now the winding direction, so which way you actually put the ribbon on, is all dictated again by those settings, the left hand or right hand printer settings.